Hello everyone, and thank you for checking out the video. First things first, before we get into it, I accidentally did not record my voice the whole time I was playing and recording my content and gameplay. I was giving live footage or live commentary the whole time and didn't record any of it. So for this video, I'll be doing a voiceover, and if you actually prefer this, let me know. If you want to hear the live commentary, then let me know as well. Thank you guys. Hello everyone, and welcome to Project Infinity 0.1. Project Infinity 0.1 is a hidden gem on CurseForge right now. I just stumbled upon it while I was looking through some mod packs to play and maybe get to learning. So I told myself at the beginning of this mod pack that it looks like a kitchen sink one. First off, it just has a little bit of everything, and the end game looks a little crazy. I've never gotten past the mod pack, like 100%. Never gotten to the end game with these crazy crafting or anything, and this one looks like it's just about has it all. It's got tech, it's got automation, it's based around magic. The end game, and it has some in the end game, it has some custom multi-blocks that you have to make. It just gets crazy. So if you want to join me in this experience of learning, then feel free to subscribe and like, and stay tuned for the rest. We start this mod pack just like any other modded mod pack. We grab our food, we sort our inventory, and we start by punching a tree. Looking through the quests here, we see that our next objective should be to get some cobblestone, which you can get these pebbles by shift right clicking on any grass block. And just to speed this up later, I turn on an auto clicker. If you consider this cheating, sorry, not sorry, but it just helps speed up the process so much. These pebbles then get turned into cobble, and they give us our first cobblestone. Start collecting some wood here. We end up getting a beehive on this tree, and so I decide to break it, and we test out if we lose our stuff when we die. And we find out the answer is no. You can just right click your grave here and collect everything that you had before. I see when looking through the quests that we're going to need some sieves or sieves, however you want to pronounce it. And so I just go ahead and collect a bunch of wood now, so then I won't have to do it as much later. And with the twerk mod installed, which grows the trees or bone meals any nearby crops while crouching next to them, this speeds up that process even more. Here's the world famous auto clicker I was telling you guys about. So I just have it set to 1 millisecond double right clicking, and I'm just holding the control button or your crouch button while doing this. And this is just racking up on pebbles, that way I can make a ton of cobble later and not have to worry about it. We then grab some of that cobble that we just collected and a oak log. We make our crafting table, therefore we can get ourselves 2 furnaces for now. And then with that cobble and that wood, we can make 2 stone hammers from Ex Diorum, and those hammers will be used later to crush down some cobble into gravel, into sand, and then finally into dust. So we're just going to go back to farming wood. We then craft ourselves some crooks, that way we can destroy the leaves, and it gives us a higher chance, or a chance at all, of getting silkworms. We then use our silkworms on the leaves, that way we can infest these leaves and we can get string from them later on. In the meantime, while we are waiting for those silkworms to infest the leaves, we're going to start crushing some of these cobblestone down to get some gravel. Our leaves are now fully infested, which we can now break with a crook to get string, and that string can be made into wool, and we're going to get our first good night's rest under the stars. We then craft some oak barrels that would be used a lot in the future, and they have plenty of purposes. I then break gravel for way too long before I just give up on trying to get flint that way, and end up crafting it anyway for a 3-to-1 ratio. We then craft this gravel into flint, and that flint into shears, that way we can collect leaves. We then make our oak crucible, that way we can get some more water started by putting leaves in it. We then make a ton, and I mean a ton, of oak slabs, that way we can expand on the base and just give us some more room to breathe, because I'm feeling kind of claustrophobic on this small island. And with these last few slabs, then our platform is finally done, and all that is left to do now is just to light it up so no mobs spawn. We then start to craft our string meshes, that way we can use our gravel and our dust and sand and sieve it, that way we can get materials like iron and redstone and etc. I then craft a few more sieves, so then I have 9 in total, and same for string, 9 total. That way whenever I sieve things, it'll all be sieved together. They are all touching. This will not work if your sieves are separated by a block or diagonal. They have to be next to each other or touching like so. I have it in a 3x3, or you can do it, I think, up to a 5x5. We then combine those iron ore chunks that we got from that gravel, and then it gets turned into iron ore blocks, which we break to smelt down, and then we get our first iron of the mod pack. Pro tip, you can compress the cobble in your crafting grid with Shift plus K. That just helps you with the compacting it a little bit faster. I do that way you can also break it like so, and you get all of your gravel back doubled. And so I will use that method, and I'm just going to be farming a bunch of materials at this point for a little while. We then take one of our cobblestone and then we crush that into gravel. We crush that gravel into sand, and then further we crush that sand into dust. And then this dust will be put into a barrel with water to be turned into clay. To make a crucible, we then realize we need porcelain clay, which takes a bone meal and a clay. And we get that clay, or we get that bone meal from sieving dust. So you guessed it, we're back to crushing cobble. So we crush that cobble, we get some more gravel, and each time this doubles, so it does like help out a lot. And then we turn that into dust, and then we sieve that dust. We ended up being 1 bone meal short, so now you know what time it is. Back to sieving. Now that we have a lot of bone meal, we can finish a porcelain clay, turn that into an unfired crucible, pop it in the furnace to be smelted, and then if you pop a torch underneath that, we finally have a rate of 1 times heating. And with that heat source, we can pop cobblestone into that, and then it'll passively make lava for us. We can check our chest, and we end up having enough gravel to change all of our sieves instead of having a string mesh to a flint mesh. That's another quest done. We are now on to iron meshes, which first we need to sieve some more. A lot of this early game is pretty much the same thing. You grab your cobble, you compress it, you put it down, you break it into smaller pieces, and then you sieve what you get out of that cobble. And I just don't want to bore you guys with that same repetitive thing, so here we get our iron meshes, and then we just keep making the same process of just getting more cobble and getting more dust and more gravel, and then sieving that dust and gravel for more resources. We start to sieve some dirt here through a string mesh, that way we can get some grass seeds and also some mycelium spores. That way we can turn some dirt into some mycelium, and then if you put a bucket of water or a barrel of water on top of that mycelium, then you can get witch water, which we can use later. And here we're upgrading our meshes once again from iron to gold, and there's only 2 tiers after this, and that being diamond and netherite. Now isn't this sound just so relaxing? But doing this is also so boring. I long for the days of a cobble generator. Speaking of, we try to craft one right here, but we don't have the right recipe? Yep, still no. So we try again here, and we find out that you actually have to use logs for the tier 1, and then you use the compressed cobblestone to upgrade it to the tier 2. We put that on the ground, and we put our compacting drawer on top of it, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we have forever cobble. What a joy. We never have to right click the ground ever again. Now if only we could get to auto sieves, that way we could stop putting this cobble on the ground and having to sieve it ourselves. That's next on the agenda. Back to upgrading our meshes once again, we go from our gold tier to our diamond tier. Having that one crucible is just not enough lava for what we need, so we end up making a few more here, and one lava source will actually heat these up for the 3 times heating that you need. Now let's get rid of all these furnaces, and then we can finally upgrade to a regular iron. And in the quest, whenever you get one iron furnace, it actually gives you a stone 2 iron furnace upgrade, as you see we claim here. And then that way we only have to make one, and then we get another one for free. We combine glowstone with lava in a stone barrel, and then we can later crush that end stone down. That way we can sieve it for ender pearls, and that's what we're doing here. As you can tell, my mind is all over the place, so we were just trying to get ender pearls, that way we can go to the mining dimension, but now we're back to upgrading our furnace yet again. So I did end up making the gold, and it gives you another free gold, and then I made a diamond, and it gives you a free diamond upgrade. That diamond then went to an emerald, and then it gave us a free crystal upgrade. We had enough magma cream to make a magma block, and that comes from crushed netherrack into the sieve, and we can upgrade our lava generating from 3 times with the lava to 100 times with the magma block underneath. Alright, let's see if it works how intended. Awesome, that is so much faster. So we decided to look through some tanks here, and I decided to go with the cyclic mod instead of the mechanism tanks. That's because, mainly, a bigger buffer. The tank can hold 64 buckets rather than the 32 with mechanism. Now we just make sure we set this pipe to extract. Perfect. Now we can get rid of these other crucibles, because all we'll need is this one because it's so fast. Now that we have our ender pearls, we're ready to make our gateway, but we want to prepare an animal pen first, so we just get rid of some of that wood, replace it all with dirt, and then we're going to put down some of our grass seeds, that way it can start to spread. For the gateway of the Emerald Grove, it only takes 1 eye of ender and then 8 flowers surrounding it in the crafting grid, and for a reward we also get a few leads. We'll use these later. We enclose this area so that whenever the animals do spawn, they don't go all over the place. I then put a smaller pen over here to the side for 2 sheep, because I don't want the sheep to completely destroy all the grass. I have plenty of iron, so I decided to make a little bit of armor before we get started with this gateway. I then decide to take our few diamonds and I make a sword, and I also make a paxel. Paxels are my favorite. Now we use those leads that I had a plan for, and we'll bring those sheep over to their own little pen. We get some milk from a cow, and then we can put that in water, and we get our slime block. We also make a mining portal block, which was a huge letdown, so I just ended up going back and then working on my auto sieves anyway. We craft our first auto sieve, and then we also decide to craft 3 more, and then we decide to craft 4 auto hammers as well. Fun fact about the auto hammers, I actually accept any type of hammer in the middle slot, so obviously I go with the cheapest option and just use wood. Now that we have our sieves and our hammers ready for automation, we're just missing a couple of things. So to keep up with the system, we want to upgrade our cobble generator. We get it to iron, and then we upgrade it to gold. And then one last time that we can afford right now, we upgrade it to the diamond tier. We're going to need some kind of power to get these auto sieves and hammers working, and the most logical one is a magmatic dynamo. This magmatic dynamo takes lava and then turns it into KFE. But to get that dynamo, we need Invar. And Invar is a mix between iron and nickel. It's 2 iron for every 1 nickel. And to get that dust, we need an ore hammer, which we made a copper one because we just have excess amount of it anyway. As you can see here, this setup is very ugly. I'm not very good with tech and automation and whatnot, so that's why I'm playing this mod pack. It's a learning experience for me, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun actually. But I'll actually go through at the end here with the final setup they ended up with and talk through what it does. This was me trying to figure out how to set up the hammers, and they automatically push out of the sides, which is very helpful, but not for the setup I was going. I was trying to push them downwards and it just wasn't working. Alright, so I hopped on real quick just to show you guys what I have set up. I cleaned up the area just a little bit. So I have a diamond cobblestone generator, and it is pumping into 3 crucibles right now. That's making lava, and they all have magma blocks underneath it at 100% tick speed. And then that is 2 of those are going into a tank, and it has a 64 bucket buffer. And then that way those are going into the dynamos, and then that is what's providing us power as of right now. So for the first one, we have a cobblestone generator that is feeding into a mechanical hammer and is turning into gravel. These don't need a hammer in it, but it makes it faster and gives better drops, I think. Or it makes it faster, not better drops, excuse me. And then we have our gravel being sieved into a diamond mesh, and then all those resources are going into this diamond chest. It has a compacting upgrade on the things like this. That way we get turned in blocks of diamond, it gets blocks of amethyst, and so on and so forth. So then we don't have to craft it later. And it also has a stack upgrade. That way it can go higher than 64 blocks. We then have another cobblestone generator. It is feeding into a hammer, getting turned to gravel. The gravel is getting fed into another hammer, getting turned to sand. And then that sand into yet another hammer that's getting turned into dust. And then that's going into a sieve, and that dust is getting sieved down. Same setup, same 2 upgrades, and then these are the resources that we've collected so far. And then last but not least, we have cobblegen into a hammer, into another hammer, and then this time we're just sieving the sand. And these are the resources that we're gaining from that. Okay, if I'm being honest guys, I was gonna play, or try to play multiple episodes of this, at least, but I don't know, I can't find like the fun in this mod pack, I guess. I went to the nether, looted, went to the end, like, but I just feel like I have no direction. Like, you just want me to, like, it has no, like, or not tutorial, but like, how do I get this, you know? It's not really giving me much to work with. Like, everything that it shows me is just past what I am. It's just kind of like a big jump. Like, it gives you the beginning, right? And you can, oh yes, I can automate my sieving. But then what? You know what I mean? Then what? Like, nothing else, it's just the nether? Do I just go mining in the nether? Because that's just like normal Minecraft. And why would I, if I just wanted to play normal Minecraft, I'd play normal Minecraft. You know what I mean? Like, there should be a better way to get my ancient debris than going mining in the nether. Like, that just does not sound fun to me. That's why I don't play normal Minecraft. So, I guess if I were to rate this mod pack, I'd give it like a 4. And I don't know. I guess it's personal preference. You know, obviously, if you prefer to just go mining for hours on end and get your ancient debris that way, fine. Yeah, I bet you would enjoy this mod pack because you'd get set up and then you can go fight the further bosses later on. But for me, that's just not what I enjoy. So I think this will be one and done episode for this mod pack, and I will be playing something else, probably here next week. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the support. Make sure to check out the the next series whenever I find a new mod pack. All right. Thank you guys. See ya.